All right, cool. All right, let me check the comments. Hello, hey Rick, how are you doing? I saw you in here last night and everywhere too, so I hope you're doing well. Christine, you got a new member, 3 o'clock. That was pretty cool, awesome. And let me know if you can hear me. Give me a little thumbs up or something in the chat. And if you can't hear me, I should have a little banner. Can you hear me? Hillbilly, what's up? All right, tonight we're going to talk about the buckets, the tower system, and we'll give everybody just a couple. Hear you loud and clear. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. I cut down my microphone, the volume a little bit from last night when I went back and checked the replay. It was going pretty loud compared to everybody else. Let's see. Yes, okay. Thank you and welcome. Welcome. You were here last night too, right? And like I said, we're going to let everybody kind of pop in here real quick. And if you're, let me see, I see YouTube, anybody from Facebook. I didn't know if that live stream went out. If you're here from Facebook, just do a little thumbs up or say hey in the chat like one person so we can see if we got Facebook hooked up too. If not, I'll just go on there afterwards. And last night, Tracy mentioned the cantaloupe microgreens. And I said, yeah, we've got some growing. So, okay, cool. Thumbs up from Facebook. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. But these are cantaloupe. These are free. This was actually from that honey melon. So, and it smells just like cantaloupe when you rub it. You know when you rub basil, you can smell it. So I'm going to taste some of those tomorrow. They'll be just about ready. You can see some of the hulls still on there and a little dirty. This is in soil in a little self-watering tray. So pretty much just set it and forget it. Just make sure, you know, if it's hot, if this gets used up really fast, the water that's in there, just bottom water it from there. And I don't want to drip it on the laptop, but you can see little roots in that going down into there, right? So I'm going to try that tomorrow. This is cool. This is what I was talking about. Like if people are starting out and they're spending a lot of money on seeds, or they're trying to go up to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy little packets of seeds, you won't even get this much. And you won't get a good crop, and you'll probably give up. If you want to practice, a lot of y'all probably eat cantaloupe or honeydew and that, and this is free seeds that you just throw out. So even if you don't eat this, it's a fun experiment just to take it and try it. But even if you don't eat it, this is a good way to practice with something free, so you don't have to spend any money. This is ramen trays, right, that you're tossing into your recycling bin, or just any kind of tray, TV trays, takeout trays. And I've just got a little soil here. In the soil, I'm using seed starting mix. So these will get, you know, a good start. I don't have to worry about fertilizer or anything. There's already a little bit in there. And then I just put the little wick up through there. I've got videos on that on my channel. And you just set it there. I cover up for like 2 days until they start to germinate. You'll see them poking up through the soil. And if you want to, you can let them go and they'll, you know, push this lid up, pull that lid off and leave it for a couple of days. You know, this is less than a week, and it's a good way to practice to just get a good crop. That's one cantaloupe right there. That's all the seeds. I just put them all right in there. Didn't do much to it. You can take it. You know, people save the seeds out of the melons and they wash them and try to pick them all off and everything. And I think I might have rinsed that one off a little, tossed it in there. But sometimes I just take it right out of the cantaloupe and just put it in the soil. If you're going to put it outside, though, you know, the ants will get to it. But, you know, if it's inside somewhere, you don't really have to clean them off all that much. And it's a good way just to practice in that. Shirley, how are you doing? Welcome. Neil, what's up? Aloha from Hawaii. You're from the land of Dr. Kratky, right? Tracy, how are you doing? Thank you for coming on last night. That was a lot of fun. And I did a post. If you go back on Facebook, if you want to check out, Tracy has a Instagram page, and they do mushrooms. And we were talking about the lion's mane here last night, and I scroll all the way back through the feed, and she's got all the mushrooms. They've got microgreens in that too, but they've got like oyster mushrooms, chestnut mushrooms, just all kinds, and just big bunches of them. So if you want to go check that out, if you're interested in it, I may be going down that rabbit hole. If I can find some place, I'm gonna put some up here. And where'd we go? Hello from Australia. What's up, Craig? Tabitha? And Patricia, welcome. Indeed. Hello, everyone. I learned so much for watching the channel. Awesome. Great to hear that, Alice. And in a little while, I'm going to go ahead and give away some of the little adapters if y'all like. You know what? We'll figure out which ones. But when I first started printing, I printed some in green, so I knew which ones I could just give away. So I've got a couple of those. If anyone's interested in that, we'll be giving a couple away. If not, we'll just do seeds again. And Carol, let's see, I think it's a different Carol, but one last night, so I've shipped that off. Thanks for having me. Yes, anytime. And anyone that's in the group or wants to be in the group, just let me know, and we'll get you in there, and you can pop on the show if you want. Yeah, Dr. Crack to the University of Hawaii. Yep, that was like 7 years ago when I first started, and all the stuff I started watching. And basically the bucket thing we're going to be talking about, that's where I got the idea. I just kind of changed it into something that fit for me, but it's the same basic concepts. Karen from South Carolina, hello. And yes, Facebook Live right now. I just checked it out by watching. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Yes. Becca's World. Hello, Becca. Okay, that one's on Facebook. Okay, now they're coming through. They must just lag behind at first when it first comes on. Hello, Miss Hula, Canada. Awesome. And Patricia's from Texas. How's the weather where everybody's at? It's still hot as blazes. Right now, we've got these kind of set up. I've got a couple little pak choi. I don't have too many microgreens in the shade house. One is just like really hot, but we're trying to grow some stuff right now. But I don't have too much out there because we have that tropical storm coming up through the Gulf, and it might be going right over North Florida. And so we don't want to put a whole lot out there right now because we're going to get a lot of wind and rain in the next couple of days. And after that, if it stays clear for a little while, because you can grow your crop in 7 to 10 days, we'll get stuff started out there again. Yes, different Carol. Okay, yeah, that's right. And where can we watch last night's live? On YouTube and Facebook. Facebook, you'll have to go back, just scroll through the feed, or they've got tabs at the top that have like videos, and I think you can find live streams there. On YouTube, you can click on, they've got tabs that says videos, shorts, and it says like live streams, and just go to the one last night. And I think I actually took last night's one and condensed it down because I tend to run my mouth a lot. And I cut out some of the times when I was just rambling on and took it down to like 39 minutes. So if you want to watch that one, I uploaded that as a video. Let's see, hot 93 at the moment. Yeah, it is hot. Hot. Brendan Martin, I'm interested. Okay, anyone that's interested, just find me on social media somewhere and DM me, and I'll give you a link to that group. And tell me more and what it is and what to do, if you don't mind. This is just going to be a garden chat. This week is just kind of a dry run. We're getting stuff together, so I'm going to be talking about the towers and putting those up tonight. We had a couple of guests come on last night, and if anybody's into gardening, hydroponics, traditional, whatever, if they just want to pop in here and contribute and just talk and chat. We've got a private group where I put everyone, and then when I go to drop a link to join this chat, you just click on that link and follow the directions, and then you'll pop in the show here, and then I can pop you up on, and we can just chat about stuff. So it's more of just a friendly thing. It's like I don't want to do a whole lot of interviews where I just go out and try and find another YouTuber and interview them for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, because you can just go to their channel and watch all their content and find out about them, right? So I want to bring people on and that normally you wouldn't see. and some of the like the smaller channels or people that have just started and but they might have been gardening for 10 or 20 years and have a lot to offer, but they you probably will never see them on YouTube and that until they start to grow a little bit, and it might be a couple years down the line. So if anybody's interested in doing that, they can come on here. If you're a creator on YouTube or Facebook too, I think if you can use StreamYard, the streaming software, when we go live, if you're set up on yours, if you're signed into your account and you join this, I think I clicked the button or whatever. There's a little button I can click, and you can simulcast this live stream to your channel. So if you're trying to get up your watch time or trying to get some new blood over to your channel, or you're new and don't have much of an audience, all you have to do is click that button, and whatever live stream we're here, if you're on here talking, you can live stream it to yours at the same time. So that's a pretty cool little feature that they have. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about this bucket system real quick. And I got a little video clip. I'll let that play. Hey Mike, hey Gloria, how are you doing? And that's great. Awesome. Yeah, I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. Let me play this clip. I'll just let it play here when I'm yakking. And I'm going to talk about the bucket system for a little while. And let me see if I can get it. Like I said, all these things is just new for me. I think I got a couple brand. How's this one? So I don't know if y'all can hear me when this video is playing, but my mic is still on. But this is the towers. This is when we grew some tomatoes, and I'm gonna put a couple more up this fall. We don't grow a whole lot because my wife cannot eat red tomatoes. It's a histamine intolerance thing, and I'll explain that some other time. But we don't go through a whole lot of them. So I would just be growing them and wasting space if and I feel bad because she loves tomatoes. So I think she loves them more than me, and she can't even have ketchup. So we don't grow a whole lot, but I'll put some in there just to grow and kind of show y'all, and I can give away tomatoes, or I can sneak a couple. But it does real well in the system, and it didn't take a whole lot of work. And like I said, so we're going to go over the construction. I'm going to put up a little banner here, and if you guys have any questions, just holler. I'll try and follow along in the comments. And if I miss you, just put question or ask again or something, and I'll see you. But I'll put up little topics: how to build a hydroponic tower, the nutrients I use. We'll talk about refilling it, how to support your plants, and how to clean your towers. So we'll go through all those, and I'll put this up here. If I forget to switch this out, let me know. And then that way people who come into this live stream afterwards who aren't here right now, watch it on the replay. If they start skipping around, they'll know what they're talking about instead of just having no idea. But basically, to build these towers, when I do this, y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all let me know. Hey, who's here? Juliana, how are you doing? Hey, Mike, squash bucket. I have 4 female squash. Oh, awesome. Now, squash is awesome too. I've done the squash in this, and the little same concept. I got containers from Target, and they were square. So if you go on my channel and you see some that are square and they have stuff growing in it, I grew squash in it, and the yellow neck, the crookneck, and that grew really well. It's just once they got big and started fruit, they were drinking nutrients really fast. Now, this is something I'll talk about later, but if you get to the point where your plants are drinking the liquid really fast, I cut back on the nutrients. If I got to fill this up like a gallon every day or every couple of days, I'll do water most of the time, and then like every 4 or 5 times I'll put some nutrients back in it. So that's just what I do without using any EC meters and not knowing anything. So if you really get into it and you want to get a meter and you want to measure and keep everything at the right levels, then that's totally possible. You just have to stay on top of it. I don't do all that. I try to teach people how they can just set this stuff up, do it nice and easy. As something, like I said, when my mom was still around, that she could just go out there and just fill it up. If I told her to get a meter and test something, and then you had to add this or add that and test it again. She wouldn't do it. So I just want to make it easy for everyone. So we'll talk about that later. But basically, construction, if you guys have seen the big towers that they have, they have all different kinds of names now, right? And those are awesome. And I'm not putting any of that down. If you've got the money to spend on those, then that's fine. But to me, you know, I don't want to spend 5, 6, 800, over $1,000 to grow some lettuce and veggies and that, when you can just do it in something like this. So basically, we took crack tea, and let's see, we hear you, and you've got one. Awesome. Okay, we took the crack tea system and just kind of basically put it in the bucket system, and that's nothing new. If you guys have watched any hydroponics, you've probably seen a whole lot of 5-gallon buckets, but basically they have one of those lids with the big net cup in the top, a black net cup, right? And it'll be about a 3 to 6 inch net cup on the top, and you grow like your tomatoes in there and that. Now that's cool, but when it rained, if this was out in the weather, it would just rain right on top, and it'd fill it up. So you'd have to drill a little drain hole wherever you wanted to let the water drain out so that it wouldn't flood your air roots. Now the problem is, if you want to use this again, usually when you go to start, you want this up as high as it can go because your roots are small. So you'd have to plug up that hole until the water drained and then pull that off. And, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but I didn't want to go through all that. So what I did was I put the holes on the side. And this way, if you have the lid on here and you've got this lip right here, I've got a little pool noodle. We'll talk about pool noodles in a minute. And you put that in there, pretty much that's gonna, the rain is not gonna, you know, drip into here too much. You might get a little bit of, it depends on how big your plant gets. You might get a little bit of rain dripping on the plant and then dripping in the root, and you know, it'll fill it up a little bit. But unless you have like a gully washer or something out there, it's not gonna drip in too fast. But if you had it up on the top, any little bit of rain would just go right in there and just fill it up. So that's why I put it on the side. Now, some people ask too, you know, why we put it here, and can't you do it lower because they're afraid you're wasting a lot of nutrients, or can you go higher? And the reason why I did it here was this is reinforcement. So if I go to stack it up, I don't really want to compromise that. If y'all want to give that a try, you know, that's up to you. I figure they put that there for a reason because these are heavy. And let's see, 8 pounds for a gallon of water, 5. So you're talking about like 40 pounds, you know, in each one of these. And I fill up about 3.5 pounds. So you're talking a little over 25 pounds a piece. And then you're stacking it on top of each other. So if you stack it up and you mess up the structure of this, you can only, you know, stack them so high and it's all just going to come down. So that's the reason why I didn't go any higher than this. And some other buckets don't have this. So, you know, you can go up a little higher. Now, I didn't go any lower. People keep asking me this one of the common questions. Why don't you put it lower so that you don't waste too much nutrients? And the reason why I don't do that is because I want as much nutrients in here as possible, because I don't have to come in here and check it as often. Things stay stable longer. If you guys were here last night and we were talking about the roots and the plants, once they get situated and they start to grow and they're stable and the roots grow out, it takes a little while for the roots to go down in the water, and it knows where the water's at and it's drinking it and it's got its air roots, and it doesn't happen like in a couple of hours. It takes a while, and they get situated. And if you let this go down, it's adapting slowly as that drops slowly. So if you let that go way down here and then you take it and fill it up to here, even though you leave room for air roots, to me, I don't think your plants like it. And anytime I've done that, the plants have suffered. So what I usually do, and we're going to be getting on, this is number 4 or something, refilling, but I just keep it somewhere in here, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I don't let this get too low. Now I want this much in here in the beginning, because the more liquid you have, the cooler it stays longer. And I always make the analogy of a Coke can and a swimming pool. When you go out during the summer and you have a glass or an iced tea or something, right? and you go to a swimming pool and you sit down and you notice condensation, your drink gets warm really fast. But when you go jump in the pool, it's still kind of cool. You know, it will warm up a little bit, but the pool takes a lot longer to warm up than that little glass of tea did, right? This is the same thing. If you have just a little bit in here and it starts to warm up, that's going to warm up like really fast. And then this all in here is just going to be like a sauna. So the more liquid you can keep in, and that's why one thing that I say, and you see in some of my videos, is maintain your levels. So if you can maintain a level and not let it get, you know, don't get too drastic on your plant, and you maintain a level like this, you're keeping more mass in here, is staying cooler longer. And since we don't have water circulating and going somewhere cool and coming back in, that's really important. So if you're doing something with a pump, I think one of the very first ones I built had a pump in the middle, just like the towers. And it came up through the middle and then it drizzled down. If you do that, then yeah, you know, it's not pulled up here. Your water's going down to one central thing. You can get away with letting that get a little lower and pumping it and running, and it's going to dissipate the heat in that. But if you're just having your water set like that, to me, the more you can have in here, the better. And then people wonder, when you're done with it, are you wasting a lot of nutrients? And like I said, so this 5 gallons, and we keep it up about here, so it's about 2.5 gallons. I'm gonna say when I first fill it up to here, it's about 3.5 gallons, right? When you buy Master Blend, which that's another topic we'll get into, and you buy it in bulk, and just like we're talking about the seeds, you save money by buying things in bulk, it comes out to about 8 to 12 cents a gallon. So if you have this filled up and you took it and filled it all the way up, and then you harvest your tomatoes and took tomatoes out tomorrow, you've only wasted 3 gallons of water at 10 to 12 cents. You know, so that's not very much, you know, compared to, you know, you're getting plants and tomatoes and lettuce or whatever you're growing in here. So basically, that's why I was doing it with these, is that we can get a lot of water. It's a big cracky container. And when we put the holes on the side, then we could stack them up. And now we've got something that resembles a tower, and that's what we had the pictures in that you all saw. I think I can put that up again. Well, I'll find it in a minute. So those you can see I stacked 3 high, each one, right? And we got red, white, and blue. We'll talk about that in a minute. And that middle one there with the white, I've got that 4 high. I put basil up on top. And I think the basil helped keep all of the hornworms away. So now you can stack it up high. You can have cracky containers. If you're growing in just 5-gallon buckets like this with one on the top, you'd have to have these buckets sitting all over the place. But you can see how much we grew in just a little space. It only takes about 1.5 feet away from your wall. And then I took these and spaced them out probably 1 foot in between of each one. So we only had about 4 or 5 feet. So you're talking about what, like 5 to 10 square feet of foot space, and you can grow a whole lot of food in that. So that's what helps with the vertical gardening. So to put these together, basically I just drill a hole, and I'm drilling 2-inch holes because I have a hole saw. Hole saws are kind of expensive, and I've got some hole saws, and I was using a 2-inch one way back when I was doing the downspouts, and we started out with net cups, and I didn't know about pool noodles and that yet. So we were just drilling holes that the net cup would fit in our downspout. So you don't have to get hung up on it. When we went and started using the pool noodles, I found out if I took the pool noodle and cut a little wedge out of it, that those would fit in there just right. And if you guys look on my channel and watch the videos, that's what I have on my downspouts. So that's why we're using the 2-inch one, because if I decided that I wanted to go back, or this didn't work out because it was just an experiment, that all of my downspouts would still fit the 2-inch cup. So that's the only reason why I made it that size. So if you want to do a bigger hole and use the bigger pool noodle, or you want to do this as a 1-inch hole and then just take these and cut these a little smaller, all you got to do is cut a bigger wedge and it folds up smaller, right? So you can get, you know, if you can't find that, if you've got something that can make a smaller hole, or you just want to use a saw or a spiral cutter or whatever. Some people have taken a tin can or a little metal cookie cutter. I've done this with the milk jugs. I showed that's just a little cookie cutter. And I just heat that up with a torch, like ones that you use in the kitchen and that, and then just go through and just melt it. So that's an easy way. If you don't feel like buying a hole saw, the only thing is if you, like me, if I take my wife's cookie cutters and use it for that, she can't make me cookies anymore. So you've got that. You got the 5-gallon buckets, and what I've got here, when I started, I put holes all the way around here. So if you guys watch the first videos that I have there, I've got holes all the way around. Now you can do that. The more holes you put in here, the more structure you're going to take away from it. And if I'm just putting tomatoes in here, when I put all those holes in, I only put 3 tomatoes at the most. And 1 would be optimal. You can do 1, 2, or 3. I want to put more than that. You know, some people do. But once these things get big and start producing tomatoes, it's going to be sucking up this water fast. You're going to come out here every day and have to maintain the level. So basically, I just cut a couple of holes. And I just put tomatoes in 2 of them. And I would leave 1 open so that whenever I wanted to come check it or refill it, I could pull that out and go ahead and do that. Now I'm doing this on the side, or you can put 1 in the back for access. And that's what I'm going to do on the next one, because I wasn't thinking I put a tomato here and here and thought, you know, they're far apart, they grow up both sides, and then I'll come over here and refill it. Well, once the tomatoes got big and bushy and I wasn't pruning them yet, and I had a couple of stacks of buckets beside each other, it was kind of hard to get right into the middle one here. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you want to grow tomatoes, you don't need that many holes. If you want to grow like we have kale, lettuce, pak choy, any of your leafy greens, you can go ahead and fill it up. You can go ahead and put 7 to 8 holes around here. You can have 1 access hole where you can refill in that too. But isn't that pretty easy? You just get buckets. This one is from Lowe's or Home Depot. It says food grade, right? For people that are concerned about that. And I've got blue ones from Lowe's and red ones from Firehouse Subs. Now, Firehouse Subs sells theirs, or they used to, it was $3 with a lid. Awesome deal. This one was like $8 or $9, and then you had your lid was $2 or $3 on top of that. It came out to about $12. Walmart sells these for $1, but they're used and they smell like frosting. Some of them were like maple frosting and that. But if you go up there and ask them if they've got some, they'll sell it to you for $1, which is a deal. And then I went by Winn-Dixie, I think, and they were nice and they just gave it to me for free. So a lot of people out there, that's one thing I was going to chat about, is about where to get the buckets and that too. So you can go out and buy them. You can go find them. They're, you know, just about everywhere. $6.99. Just look cool. Awesome. And Firehouse Subs, don't tell anyone. And yeah, when I first started doing this and started, I was going up and getting them. And then after a while, there was like none. I was like having to race people up there, and they were like always gone. I'd have to get there like at opening, and they would go in and fill up their trays with pickles and sell me the one that they were just using that morning. Some people have got these from bakeries. They know people, and someone knew someone in a cafeteria, which they go through a ton of these. Oriental delivery or Chinese cuisine and stuff. Somebody said they use a lot of soy sauce. They got some free from them. And somebody knew a caterer, and they go through a bunch of these, and they didn't know what to do with them. They were just throwing them out too, and they gave them a whole lot free. Somebody out there scored like 100 buckets. I was like, that's crazy. That's like you can make about 30 towers with that. Imagine all the stuff you can grow. I got several from my school cafeteria for free. Awesome. See, that's cool. And the kitty litter box. Yeah, a lot of people are asking me about the kitty litter boxes. They got cats, and I didn't realize they had those square tubs, and those are just going into the landfill. So, you know, that's another use instead of just getting rid of something. Oh, yeah, the donut shop. And I'm going to have to try again. I went into ours, And the cashier looked at me like I was crazy. And I was going, the buckets that y'all use, what do you do, with your buckets? And she was like, what? I was going, can I have your buckets? Would you sell some in that? And she's like, I don't know. I'll have to get a manager. Yes, yes. 60 dozen hard-boiled eggs. Holy moly. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's all part of being resourceful and finding things. So instead of going out and spending hundreds of dollars and building the towers, if you want, just be resourceful. And that's why I wanted to do this now when it's just like hot, because everyone at springtime is going to see the videos. That's when the views and stuff start taking back off because everybody starts searching it again. And then everybody runs out and they're all like asking for them and everything. But right now, when it's 100 degrees, nobody's thinking about gardening or setting anything up, right? But this one, you can go around and go find supplies, and maybe you'll find some free, that they don't know what they're going to do with it. They're just getting rid of it. And it's a good time to go ahead and stock up, get ready, take your time. You can sit there and drill your holes. Each one of these, takes me like 5 minutes to make it, and so a tower takes like 20 minutes and you got a tower built. To me, it's just blowing my mind that you can grow food like that. Now, like I said, the commercial towers are good if you want to spend that much money. They do awesome. But to me, like these are also portable. You can stack them up, and as long as they're not tomatoes and you don't have them tied together, if you're growing like lettuce when we grow kale, I had mine and it was set in a spot where it was getting a lot of sun and they were doing good, but they were getting just a little too much at the end of the day and they were starting to wilt. And I could take them and pick them up and set them down and restack them somewhere else. Now, those big towers, once they're set up, some of them are on casters, but if you're out in your yard, you can't really go anywhere with it, right? So pretty much wherever you put it, it's basically stuck there. And if you get a traditional garden, same thing, you plant your garden. If it happens to be in the wrong spot, you got to go ahead and try and move it. You got to dig up your plants. It's not really going to do too good when you can take these and just pick them up and move them. Let's see, what else on the construction before I move on? My favorite restaurant. They give me buckets and keep eating there, and they keep giving me buckets. We both win. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah. I got to find some place to get some free buckets. My school is one or square like that. Not quite 5 gallons. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. I think, let me see if I've got it in this picture. My wife had mint growing. We went to, here we go, Winn-Dixie, and they gave me this one for free, the bucket. So it's a free bucket. And my wife took some mint, and I just put Master Blend in there and nothing fancy. And she took some mint cuttings that we had from somewhere else and stuck them in a pool noodle. And this thing just grew wild. We just kept picking mint off of it, and you can see the inside. It's not a whole lot of algae. There's a little bit. It's not like the prettiest thing because this is off-grid hydroponics. There's no pump and aeration and everything, but mint loves this kind of stuff. And you can see the little runners growing inside. So that was pretty cool. And that was just, going up to Winn-Dixie, and while we were shopping and nobody was in line, I don't go up when there's like a lot of people in line and wait and say, excuse me, do you have any buckets, to sell or for free? And I'll wait till like there's no one around, and usually they're in a better mood. So she was just like, you can just have it. And she just gave us that one, and I think a big one too, a 5 gallon one. And Keely grew mint in that, and that was pretty awesome. Last thing, pool noodles. You can see I was using those. I started out like this. This was my idea. And this is why we go through and we work on things and change. I had those cut at an angle. I was just thinking it would hold the plant up since we're going on the side because we always grew on the top, right? So I said, it's going to be on the side. The pool noodle, we can cut it longer. You can't do that with cloning collars and that, right? And then I just had it kind of slanted, but that was aimed up and was really easy for the rain to hit it and come inside, just like the towers that they have, the cups where the net cups sit on them, they're aimed up. So the rain can go in there like really easy. So that happened. So that I switched back to just using this. and that's what we'll get on when we get on to trellising them. But if you have lettuce, kale, your leafy greens, this works good for it. You don't need to tie them up or anything. And if you do, you can just do the same thing I did with tomatoes. So let me see what my next topic is. I'll get onto that. Anybody got any questions about construction? Basically, like I said, it's getting your bucket, drilling a couple of holes. It doesn't have to be a 2-inch hole. I just use that because we used to use net cups. You can do a 1-inch hole. You can use any cookie cutter you got. And basically, that's it. So, I mean, what could be easier, right? Basic construction. I go about 3 high. I put basil in the top one because I could let the water get a little low in that and just leave it there and just keep filling it up. I didn't have to have like a real heavy one all the way up on the top. If I want to get any higher than that because it gets a little unsteady, and if there's wind, I have mine up against a house and I leave the handles on. You can take these off. I have my handles on and I put a little hook on the house where I can put this on the hook, or you could take it and zip tie it to it. So if you do get a little wind and you've got, 3 buckets, you got 3 handles that you can hook it onto. Another thing you can do is put a pipe, an iron pipe or something down, stake it, one of the, what's the things you put up for a temporary fence, the little post that you put in the ground, those green things. You can put one of those right through the handles and give it a little more stability. So any other questions about, get back to the comments about the construction. I spray painted some plastic fusion spray, the ones out front. No complaints from the housing office. Awesome, make them pretty. Yeah, we're playing around with some paints with something else, not the buckets. People don't really care about them over here, but since I get the blue ones and the red ones and the white ones, it looks like patriotic. So when I put it out, it looks like I'm being really patriotic, and I think nobody wants to come up and say anything about it. Question, do you need air holes? Now, in the first videos, if you go back and watch, that's what I had done was up here. I was putting little holes for air, and you can do that. I think, it doesn't hurt having a little bit of fresh air, being able to go in and out. The more you can restrict it, this will stay moist up here, and that kind of helps your roots from drying out and that too. But when I leave one of these open without a plant in it, and then even the plants, this doesn't totally cut off the air. It's not airtight, right? And if you have one in here too, I mean, even if you did that, there's still air getting in through there. You can see it right there, right? And you can have that closed up as much as you want. So you'll be able to get some air in. If it makes you feel a little better, you can. But everybody was concerned about mosquitoes going in through those little holes. So they were trying to cover them up with pantyhose and little pieces of screen. Where do you get your blends? Okay, that's Juju. Thanks for helping us be self-sufficient. No problem. This is awesome. And the more people that do this, the better. It's just, like I said, I get all these testimonials or thank yous and DMs and emails, and it just blows my mind. That was a gardening warrior. Let's see. I'm glad I found your channel. Cool. Awesome. Appreciate it. A little neem oil in the bucket will kill the mosquitoes too. Yeah, so that's what she's saying. Put a little neem oil. I'm experimenting with citronella oil. And I'm doing that on our my wife's pond. I think I made a video, or I got one coming up. And we've got the big 27-gallon tote on there. And we also had the tote on the living wall on that. And I was just taking essence of citronella oil, rosemary oil, and one other one. Somebody help me think of something that they don't like, something like lavender or something. But I've got those, and I was taking it and just dropping a couple drops around. And inside, I took one of these ramen trays, and I put that in there like this, so it's floating. It's like a little raft. And inside of here, I put a paper towel, and I dripped a couple drops of oil in there. So I don't know what Juliana does. Do you just drop it right into the water, the neem oil? And she said the little mosquito pucks too. Somebody said that the active ingredient in the mosquito puck was neem oil. So, peppermint. Cool. Yeah, that's another one. All right, I'm 40 minutes in and I'm like on my first topic here. We can always get on to other ones, but I'll go through these kind of quick. The nutrients that I use, if you watch my channel, I've got a video in the frequently asked questions, and it says the nutrients I use. It's Master Blend, tomato formula, the 4-1838, and Epsom salt and calcium nitrate. And the ratios are on that video. I use 12 grams, and 6 grams. So it's 1.5. So this right here, like I said, if I buy it in bulk, if you go on Amazon and you get the kit, they've got a kit that has like 1 pound of Master Blend and 1 pound of calcium nitrate and half a pound of Epsom salt. And if you buy that and you mix it up in 5-gallon measures like that, you're going to get almost 200 gallons. So you're talking about somewhere like 12 cents a gallon. Now, if you want to get even cheaper than that, you can buy it in bulk. I order from Morgan County Seeds, and there's a couple of other places, but I get just my Master Blend from them, and I get a 25-pound bag or a 50-pound bag. So it depends on how much I'm going to be using. But I remember somebody, CB, used to come on here all the time. He had a greenhouse just full of tomatoes, and he said he went through like a 25-pound bag like every week. So made a 25-pound bag last me all year. So if you want to get, cheap on it, go ahead and save up money and buy it in bulk. But if you're just starting out, go ahead and just get a kit. I wouldn't go ahead and I was selling little samples, and I stopped that because that's expensive. I was just mixing them up. I had to account for my time and the little baggies and the packages and the labels and the printer and all of that stuff. So, it was enough to make a 5-gallon bucket, but people were starting to buy like 3, 4, 10 of them. And I was like, this was just a sample for like a new person to get it and give it a try. And they were ordering like $80 worth of little sample bags. And I'm like, you could just go on Amazon and just buy a 5-pound, bag of it for a whole lot less. So I just stopped doing that. I would, if I need to help people, I'll do it again or figure out something. But if I put it out there, like I said, some people, I don't feel right. I could make a lot of money just getting in and just selling it, $10 for a little sample and do that all day long. But I just don't feel like doing that all day. I order a bunch of baggies. I'm sitting here with my scale and sealing up little baggies, and I kind of feel like a dealer. So that wasn't too much fun doing thousands of those during lockdown, but it got us by. Don't be quiet. We all learn. That's how we learn. Cool. Please, can you post a link to the nutrients? I'll put it in there a little later if you come back on this and check it. But if you go to that video, if you go on my YouTube channel, there's a frequently asked question playlist, and the nutrient one is right in the beginning. There's a link to it inside of there, the one that I get. I have not been successful transferring plants to large buckets. Okay, you just got to give it a try. We'll give you some hints on that. I'll do, maybe that'll be our topic next week, Cheryl, and we'll figure it out. And if you're in our Facebook group too, you can ask people. Sorry, I'll be quiet. Yeah, you don't have to be quiet. Jeannie, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. And for tomatoes, Neil, flowering stage, do you back off the calcium nitrate or do you get less than potassium? Nope. Neil, you're free to do anything you like, but you can see like the ones that I grew. I'll pop a picture back up there again. Here you go. All of this stuff right here, straight Master Blend formula. I didn't change it up. Right from the very beginning, that's what I use, and use the same thing through the whole grow. Now, one thing that I did say was that, and we'll get on to the refilling here since we're talking about nutrients, and then we'll get on to the refilling. If you're going to grow just greens, I think Juliana or Juju in the chat there, she used General Hydroponics, Maxi Grow and Maxi Bloom. I use General Hydroponics, Maxi Grow for our greens, and that worked just fine. So if you're just growing greens, you can get that, and it's a 1-part formula. You just put I think it's a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons per gallon. So that's real easy. Mix it up, water soluble, and call it done. Now the tomatoes, I didn't change anything. You're free to do that. And lots of people, talk about like the phosphorus and the calcium for the tomatoes. And I don't get into all that. Like I said, I'm going to be the world's dumbest gardener. So what I'm trying to show you guys is the basics. And I want to show you something that someone who doesn't, I don't try to learn all of the other stuff because I want beginners to learn how to do this and get excited about it. So I don't mind pointing you like to different channels or different people, but when you start to get technical with metering stuff and changing stuff up, it's not that I don't want to give anyone an answer. It's just I don't know. I don't do it, and I have no desire to do it. So my desire is to try and do it as easy as possible. So I get out there and I know that I could go on Amazon, which is easy, and I can order a meter, and I can go on Amazon and order pH up and pH down and do that. But when I have my containers like this set up, the living wall is one thing, right? You got that whole living wall in one container. When I have cracky containers all over, and now we had the little glass jars. At one time during the spring, we had like 100 containers all over the place growing stuff. And if I had to go through and check every one and meter it and try to adjust and stir and check it, it'd be a full-time job. And I would just say, screw this. I'm not, up with all of that. But if you just have a couple of containers, like a couple of towers, and you want to do that, this one, if you have a tower with 3, you're going to have to do it 3 times. And I just don't check all of that. If it doesn't work for that, I'm just not going to grow it. And I'll try to grow something else. So I'm just showing you guys stuff that's grown with just the master blend formula, not changing it up, not changing the ratio or anything. I mix this stuff in 5-gallon buckets, and I have the bucket sitting and just dip out of that and pour it into here, which I think that's one of our topics, right? Refilling. Nutrients I use, how often I refill. Let's go ahead and get onto that. And I just refill these. So I'll have the 5-gallon bucket set up. And like I said, I'm not going to let this go all the way down and all the way back up. So I'm not using that much at a time. Even if I was gone and I let this accidentally drop, I won't fill it all the way back up. The most I ever put into something like this is like 3 quarts at a time. So if I accidentally let this go down, I just fill it a little bit back up and let it go down and then I maintain that level. What I do from the very beginning is I put the plants in. So you got your tomatoes and that in here, right? Everything's all put in here. You've got your plants in here. I come in here and usually when you first put it in, the first 3-4 weeks, you're not doing much of anything. And sometimes that can be a curse or a blessing because sometimes you'll just forget because it just goes and goes and goes and you're not doing anything. And then one day, the plant's like drying up. But what I do is after a couple of weeks, I come out and pull one of these out and just reach in there and just touch. And everybody's telling me how to put a float or a little peak valve or a cork and all of this. And like I said, everybody's free to do that. I'm giving you the basic so that you can learn how to do this. And I want you guys to take it and experiment with it and extrapolate and do something better. So there's a lot of people in our Facebook group that are experimenting and doing other things. And me, I'm always going to go right back to the basics because, like I said, new people will come on. I can get real technical about everything, and it's just going to turn some people away. They won't even want to give it a try. So I want people to at least try, and then you can go ask other people like Neil probably knows a whole lot more than I do, and go ask them questions, and they can help you along the way. So that way we help everybody up the hill. And it's not me like at the top of the hill going, look what I did. Come on, you can do it. I want to be at the bottom of the hill with everybody pushing people up. So when I refill it, so I'm not going to go over and put a little system in. If you want to put an automatic float system in here, you can do that. Somebody did that in our group. They put another bucket up here with nutrients so they could let it go longer, and they put a float valve in there. That was pretty cool. And all I do is just pull this out and put my finger in here. And if I can touch the nutrients, if I can touch it and it's down below the hole there, I don't do anything. If there's any nutrients anywhere in there, I just leave it. And then as soon as I go ahead and do like that and I can't touch the nutrients, that's when I refill it. And I think, let me see if I got a little picture. Oh, you know what? Let me, I've got a little video here. And if you guys haven't seen, some people asked, how do you fill it up, from the side? Because the top's easy, right? Pull the top off, pour it in there. So if you got these stacked 3 high, the top one, you can lift up the lid and just pour it in the top. Video file. Let me know if you all can still hear me when this is playing. But look, those are banana peppers that grew in here. Same formula, just set it and forget it. Banana peppers, tomatoes. So just really easy to do. And each one of those, I got about 3 in each one. And let me check real quick. We'll see. There's all the tomatoes that came off of one, a whole load of peppers, and picked a bunch of green tomatoes. Like I said, my wife can't eat the red tomatoes, so fried green tomatoes are like awesome. All right, this is the insides. Let's see. We'll come back to that real quick. Here's refilling it. So I just leave one hole open, and this one actually had 2. And if I can't reach the water, then I've got my 5-gallon bucket, and I just get one of these funnels and just add it like that. So if you're checking it every day or every couple of days, it's not going to drop that much. So you won't have to fill too much in there. And some of these you can actually look, you can shine a light on it if you need, or you can actually feel it too, and you can feel where it's cool, and you can feel how much is in there. So that's basically how I fill it up. I'll show you how when we clean it in that too in just a second when we get to that. But I'm way behind on the comments too. Do you use different nutrients in different plants? Okay, I think I answered that right. I'm just entering, and do you just use water, nutrition use? Lemongrass would do lemongrass. Hey, I never thought of lemongrass. We had lemongrass in that. I can hear you. Awesome. Okay, cool. The motor oil fun you shared a while back, such a lifesaver. Yeah, that's what I use. That one's cool. And then I took the funnel, and there's a little loop on it. I put one of the closable, the little keychain things on it, and then just hung that out in the garden. So whenever I need it, I just grab it, go and use it. And like I said, the bottom 2 you do that, and then the top one you don't really need it. If you don't want to buy a funnel, I just took like a Coke bottle. I took a alcohol bottle that we had used and cut it and put that in there like a funnel too. You can use just about anything. And sometimes if I'm really lazy, I just have the container, my almond milk jug, and I just stick it in there. And you can't get everything in there, but you can pour enough. If you just need to add a little, you don't even need the funnel. You can just do that. So that's what I do for refilling. And people that just came in, yeah, I don't change up nutrients or anything. Like I said, if you guys want to experiment, that's fine. You can do it. There's lots of stuff that's out there that's good. Just watch. You want to get something for hydroponics, and we'll get into this in other videos and everything. But plain traditional fertilizers only have macronutrients, the NPK, and then when you get into where you don't have soil, you're missing micronutrients. And usually hydroponic nutrients will take that into account and add in some other stuff like copper and boron and things like that. So most hydroponic nutrients were formulated, and they're used in big commercial systems that use pumps and filters and aeration, and it takes all that into account. And there weren't a whole lot of people just doing off-grid hydroponics like this. And the master blend I found worked. I tried a couple different ones, and they were really expensive, especially the ones you buy that are liquid. Really expensive, and they didn't work all that well. When we got to the master blend, then you guys can look through my videos, like the older videos, and just see stuff, growing all over the place, and just things were just growing wild, and we weren't having that much problem with it, and it was affordable. So I kept using that, and like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we were using that. A little while ago, they came out, some other company. I didn't know how this went, but somebody got a master blend formula, and it was supposed to be an all-in-one, so you didn't have to mix it. in like 2020. But it didn't work well for stuff. I grew a bunch of greens with it and that, but it didn't work well on tomatoes, and I just quit using it. I didn't know that there's a lot of things like coffee that they just white label stuff, and people can come over and just like if I want to make keep on growing coffee, I go to this company and I just give them my logo and name, and they slap it on coffee, and I call it keep on growing coffee, and sell it as my coffee. And basically they were doing that with nutrients and that too. So basically, since Master Blend 41838 worked great for me all those years, that's all I use, and tell people to just use that too, so that everyone doesn't get confused about everything. Is Keely here? Hey, Keely. Oh, there you go. And let me get a little sip. Would it work to make your own compost tea? All right. I'm going to address this really quick and we'll move on to the next one. Since this is non-circulating, if you want to go ahead and get pumps, filters, aeration, meters, and take care of all of that, to me, that gets a little too, it's out of the realm of easy. And even though you're getting affordable and you're using your own, anything that's organic, because it's just sitting, and this is static, it's not stagnant. Stagnant's when everything rots and then it turns kind of like that. When you use Master Blend, there's not a whole lot of organic material in here. So it can sit here for, a month and it doesn't turn bad. Once you get organic material into here, and there's air and there's food and stuff's breaking down, it doesn't take but a couple of days and it starts to go bad, and they call that anaerobic. It'll start to smell bad, and then different things start happening in there that the plants don't like. I've tried several times and haven't come up with anything. I'd ordered different ones that were made with fish fertilizer, and it turned into something like a SCOBY. If anybody knows what that is. And I tried ones with fish waste, like fish poop, and then they add like a little mint in there so it doesn't smell too bad. But nothing that I tried so far has worked. But we keep on. We're still trying. So it's experiments. Compost tea you can try, but I've had some compost tea. You got to sit and let it brew, and those will work to some extent, but you're not going to have the same results as knowing exactly what's in the Master Blend and putting it in here and filling it up and getting started right off the bat. And when you make compost tea at home, it's really a guesswork. Compost tea is more for treating like your garden, and you can use it as a foliar spray. But when you first put it in here, it's kind of hard to tell one batch to the next what's actually in it. Whereas when you take Master Blend 41838 or one of the other ones, or General Hydroponics, you know exactly what you're putting in to start. So there's not a whole lot of guesswork. And if something starts happening to the plants when you have your compost tea in there, you can't tell if you did something wrong or if it's that, or, it could be any number of things. So give it a try. It's fun. Just anything that's organic, it's just like, to me, it starts to break down really fast. And especially when it starts getting warm like this, it gets really, really smelly really fast. I was kind of surprised by, I had that fish fertilizer and I covered it up in the bucket and I left it when I was doing the permaculture stuff. And after 6 months, I opened it up and it didn't smell like fish anymore. That was actually pretty cool. All right, where are we? Let me see banners. We'll get on to cleaning. 2 more real quick here. We've already on an hour. How do you support your plants? All right. Lettuce, tomato, or lettuce, your greens and that, you really don't have to worry about it. Kale, if you guys go back and watch like my videos, the last towers I set up kale, when I first put them in, they're all hanging down. People are worried, oh, my plants are drooping. The plants will all right themselves after it starts to get adapted and acclimated, and then the sun's up here, your kale and that will stand back up. So I don't bother doing it. If you grow your kale really big, then you're going to have to support it. I just kind of grow it to the baby green stage and we start harvesting, and some of them grow a little bit bigger. But kale, once it gets situated, it'll start to grow. And your pool noodles, what I would suggest is, this is how big I used to make it for the downspouts. If you're going to do it for this, I would cut them a little bit thicker, because if you're going to put plants and they start to get heavy, they'll start to kind of stretch in there and they'll lean over. Might have to come in and keep pushing it up a little. So if you make that a little bit bigger, if you make it too skinny, it's going to pop out really easy. But your tomatoes, especially if you get indeterminate, I try to get determinate ones, but if you get like the vine, you're going to have to take those and trellis them up. And any way that you trellis a regular tomato, you can trellis these too. And I think I've got a picture of it in that one. Did y'all see if those were, I don't know if you can see it in that, but if you go back on my other video where I actually built this tower, I showed how to trellis them up. And yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but there's green strings in there. Like the white bucket there, you can see those green strings, and right there where the hole is at. Okay, could you see those green strings? And that's just these little S hooks. You get a bunch of these. They're like really cheap. You know, you can get a couple. You can go in a hardware store and buy like 4 or 5, but I ordered like a bunch of them like that. And really all you got to do is just come along and take them. And I just set them on there, and like the ones that are on the bottom in the top bucket, now I tie a string to that, little twine, and then tie it around the plant. I tie a little slip knot so I can pull it up as I need it, or I can untie it and retie it. And even if there's something in it, like another plant on the one up above it, you can just slide this in behind of it like that, and it still works. So you don't even have to pull that out. When you see me doing that in the video, it's just to show everyone what I was doing. But that's what I do for like the bottom one and the top one. And then on the top, usually I go ahead and grow like basil or something that you can just let grow wild. The top one, if you do put tomatoes, you saw mine was up against the house. We actually went up to the eave of the house and put a couple of screws, and I just tied twine from there, and they grew all the way up to the edge of the house. So really easy. It doesn't have to get complicated. You can I put tomato stakes, the bamboo stakes next to mine, and then just the little clips, and just clipped it onto the stakes. Some people, the top one, they put a tomato cage and flip it upside down, bend over the top ones so they're not pointy, and zip tie it on, and then you have a cage going up through the top. So all different kind of things, but you don't have to get too crazy. Like I said, a bunch of these are really cheap, and then a roll of twine is like a couple of bucks or something, right? So that makes it easy. And then with that, you just take it and tie it, and if you're using the garden twine, when you're done, you can just cut it, let it drop, and just disintegrate back into the ground. And then I pull all the S hooks off, and I save them for the next time. All right, let's see. Any questions about trellising? If you initially use MaxiGrow, can you switch to Master Blend? I'm not sure about that. You can try. Okay, Sun. What's up, DJ? Haven't seen you in a while. The sun, with everything in the plants, just like they say, you want to plant somewhere to get 6 to 8 hours of sun. You know, to me, if I put mine out there, my whole backyard's shaded, so I get a couple hours. So what you see me growing, you might be able to do a whole lot better. You might have a whole lot more sunlight. What you want to do is get your plants as much sun as you can without them wilting and dying. So I try to put mine where they're facing, where the morning sun will come up, and they'll get a lot of morning sun. And then when it gets over to where it's warm, like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun's really beating down, I want it to be in the shade by then. So that's why I like these too, because I can mess around with it and have it in one spot in the yard. And if I have it in the yard where it's still like 3 or 4 o'clock and the sun's just beating on it, and they're getting too warm, I can pick it up and move them. And you guys won't believe, and this we'll do another video on, just moving your plants like 1 foot or 2 feet up on my living wall. I didn't even put that video out. I've got so many videos I got to put out. I had shade cloth up over half of it for an experiment, and the other side was open, and just this much difference. And this was shaded and this one wasn't. The plant was twice as big, and it was all in the same material, same nutrients, same everything, and just that much difference made a plant twice as big. So you try to get it as much sun as possible, but you don't want it to be where, you know, if you put it out there and everything's wilting and dying, obviously you got to move it, right? But I'll face mine, like I said, where I get the most morning sun, and you might have to look around your yard, or, you know, if you don't have these stacked up and you can move them, you know, you can move them throughout the day if you need to. You know, another thing we've done is some people have covered these up with the foil, the bubble wrap, and that kind of reflects the heat. And another thing you can do is you can always like set a board or something up under your plants. You know, whatever you can do, you can even put cardboard, something that's going to reflect the heat a little and keep this nice and cool. You guys won't believe that just getting the sun off of something like this for a couple of hours, how much cooler your stuff will stay. And I get some people who are just like, you know, it's way too hot and my stuff's dying. And then I'll ask them, and they'll have this sitting out in the direct sun like all day long. And, you know, when it's 90 something degrees outside, it's just not going to last. When they say 90 something, it's in the shade. And I showed you with my thermometer and that too. And it's actually the ground and everything where these things are coming into contact is actually like over 100 degrees, about 120 degrees. So this stuff will, you know, warm up fast. You got to treat it, you know, just like your drink. If you take it, you know, you're not going to take your little icy beverage. This is a hot coffee, and you're not going to take it and set it right out in the sun and expect it to be cold an hour later, right? So you take your stuff and you set it down in the shade. I made a pallet into 3 garden beds, tree trimmings, grass clippings, scraps. Oh, cool. Cheapest organic. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's where we've got the stuff out to. Mine's the anti-compost. You might get nutrient lockout switching from Maxi-Grow to the Maxi Blend. Yeah. Yeah, you might definitely. And that's one more thing. And I'll talk about nutrients in another video, but I want to just say this real quick. As far as mixing it and the nutrients, and people are concerned about throwing everything in. If you're concerned, follow whatever the manufacturer says. Don't listen to me and a bunch of yahoos on YouTube, and just read the directions and follow the directions. And they say to mix it separate, put it together. I made a video like that for years. I just took everything and put it all in there. And you guys won't believe, a couple of years, if you're just new here or new to all of this, a couple of years back, everyone would get on here and just argue constantly about it. And I'm like, well, I've done it for like 5 years that way, you know, so just do what you want, you know. But somebody actually called one of the representatives, and they said that they don't think that anything like this size, that it matters all that much. They're talking about like commercial growers and mixing big quantities of it and getting lockout like that. I really want to try it, but it looks a little expensive for us poor folk. Has anyone tried to just compost tea? Yeah, well, if anybody has, go ahead and let her know. But like I said, if you buy it, save up and buy it in bulk, you're talking about 8 cents a gallon. And you might be spending more than that trying to make compost in your yard, unless you eat a ton of vegetables and you just have, you know, a bunch of stuff turning over and that in your yard. We eat a whole lot of vegetables and fruit and that, so we've got like a pile of stuff outside. Let's see, you can keep it covered 40% shade cloth and it'll keep it cooler. Yeah. And that's another thing. I just buy shade cloth and I never check 40, 60, 70, 80% or whatever. So follow what Neil says. Mine, I click on them and just order some shade cloth. Mosquitoes, we talked about that a little earlier. You can go check that out. The point of the pool noodle is just to hold your plant. That's it. And lots of people are, you know, saying stuff about the roots are not in here. The roots are hanging down inside. This is just holding it. And it's just like a nursery pot or something holding the plant. And you can use cloning collars if you want. They've got hydroponic cloning collars. And I've been using that because not everybody can get pool noodles. So if you can't get this, don't worry about it too much. I've done that for years. I just constantly get people panicking, you know, we don't have pool noodles in our country, or we can't get them over here, or, you know, I'm on the coast and they like throw pool noodles out all the time. We get them in the winter time too. They make different colors because people make crafts and that out of it. But some people can't get them, but that's what we were using because they came out to like 2 or 3 cents a piece. So people are like, oh, that won't last very long. I'm like, well, for 2 or 3 cents, I don't really care. And I've used them 2 or 3 times. You know, sometimes I don't even feel like cleaning them, and I'll just start over. So not much sense to that. Netting helps with mosquitoes. Yep, mosquito dunks. I'm with Mike. I order what's on sale. Yeah, I like a good sale. They're really costing the nutrients, but secondhand stuff, recycle stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's just the nutrients. And if you save up and just buy that, just bite the bullet. Like I said, when I first started, I was buying like the expensive nutrients, and they do look expensive if you look at that. But if you go like Master Blend and just bite the bullet, and I bought like a 25-pound bag, and that lasted me like a year. And that's with all the stuff you see me growing. A lot of you aren't going to be growing that much stuff. You'll be growing a whole lot less. They sell pipe insulation at Home Depot. Yeah, yeah, similar size and shape, and those even have little sticky things on them. All right, let's get to the last thing real quick. I'm sorry I'm running my mouth so much, but where did I do this? Let's take the comments off. How do you support it? And the last thing, how do you clean them? So you harvest it and clean it. So you guys saw how we grow nutrients and everything. If you got any questions, I've got videos on that on the channel. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is just the different kinds. And some of you are already doing this, already know. People like are concerned about that, so they get food grade. These are white buckets. If you go to bakeries and that, most of them have white buckets. And this light gets into it, you get a little bit of algae, but I still grew a whole lot of tomatoes, and I'll show you, right? Let's look at that picture one more time. This will be the last time I kind of show you. I'll keep putting it up here. But you see I got red, white, and blue. And you can see there's peppers all over the first ones, the blue ones, and there's tomatoes all over the white one, and there's tomatoes over on red one. I don't know if I got pictures of that. So those got algae in it, but they all did basically the same, whether they had algae or not. Now let's look inside. And pretty much the blue ones, the Lowe's ones, I don't get any algae in those. Let's see. Click, click. Here you go. Make it a little bigger. So these are the firehouse ones. Get in there. This is what it looked like at the end of the grow. And you can see it's not like all white roots. You know, that's what everybody's like, you know, doing a grow, and they're going to yank out a thing full of white roots and not have very many tomatoes on it or whatever. And people are like, you know, all ecstatic about the root system. What I care about is the fruit that it produces. And you can see that the water here is clear all the way to the bottom in this one. And there's just a little bit of, you know, schmutz in that on the bottom. So that's a little bit of organic matter. And that could be a little bit of algae that started growing in the water and died and floated, sunk to the bottom. We rinsed off the roots here. I don't rinse them off really well. There could be a little dirt left on that, and as it grows, it just falls to the bottom. But you can see that you can see clear through to the bottom there. And I've never shared, I don't think I shared this with people yet. This is the white one. Like I said, in algae, you know, grew in this one because it's a lot lighter. So you can see the difference in both of these. The other one was totally clear. This one's kind of clear, but you can see there's a lot more algae in it, right? And all of that came off really easy. I just took one of the old pool noodles and just wiped it around like a sponge, and it just wiped it right off. But if you're worried about like mosquitoes, you can see there's not a bunch of mosquitoes flying around in there, and there's not a whole lot of larvae, and I didn't put anything in this. And this is the blue one in the roots, and this was peppers and that, but you can see there's, you know, a little bit of salt on the top of it, but the water's clear as can be underneath. You can see all the way to the bottom. So that made it like really easy to clean up. This one was just like rinse it out and you know, just wipe it with a towel and start over. So I'm trying to get the exposure right on there. So that's cleaning, and that's what all you got to do is just take everything out, since you grew a bunch of tomatoes and you spent like 2 or 3 cents on here, I don't bother trying to keep them. I just start over with another one. And the white ones, you're going to do a little bit of cleaning. If you cover them up, little foil, burlap, bamboo mat, all kinds of stuff. Just use your imagination. You can cut down on the algae and also cut down on the heat. But the blue ones, I like those that they're not getting any algae in them at all. And those were really, you can see that it was like really easy to take it and pull these out, rinse it out a little bit, wipe it out, and then you're back in business and you start over. And how do we clean them? Oh, I lost all my. All right, I think that's the last topic. Any other questions before I finish up? There we go. And let me take my name off here. Sorry, it's been a while since I used this, so. Display names. There we go. All right, guys. So that's the bucket system. You guys got any questions? I got videos on it, and we'll be talking a lot more on it. That's why I want to do this kind of come on live stream. People can ask questions, and you know, not everybody gets in here, right? So we can do it again. You guys have, oh, you know what? We didn't do a giveaway. Let's do a giveaway real quick, and then I'll let you all go. So everybody's in here, right? Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go on another tab. It's StreamYard giveaway tool. I'm going to give away some of the adapters, and we'll do videos on this next week too. I don't have time to kind of explain the adapters and that. But for those of you who have seen my channel, let me share this. I got to take this one off. We're going to go ahead and give away some adapters, and everybody's going to, what's a good hashtag to put up? Let's just do me or something, right? Let's see, edit name, remove from studio. So I have to take the video off and then add in this other one. Share screen. You can tell I'm not prepared. And boom. All right, cool. Can y'all see that? And I've got our live stream right. I got the right one. Make an easy vertical tower. Let's just say hashtag, like the pound sign, and just me. Like I want to win. Okay, so if you guys want, what are we going to give away? What should we give away? I got some green ones. Let's see, I've got one of these left. It's from, can y'all see me? Bigger. There we go. I got one of these that goes on the regular mouth mason jar. I got one of the wide mouth mason jars. I've got a couple of these. How about if we give away like a couple of, who wants like the Coke bottle ones? Those sell, I'm selling those for about 15 bucks a piece, so that's like $45 right there. Should I give away those? Like 3 of those? Or should I do more? I got a couple more. Or give away a couple tomorrow too. Me. Okay, yep, everybody put me. How about that? Would that be cool with everybody? 3, these fit onto a soda pop bottle. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, I've got the microgreen growers, and you just have a soda pop bottle light. This, you know, just a regular one. This one's Sprite, I think, or whatever. And you put that inside a container. We put a little hydrogen, like a seed. So that's in our other videos. And then you put your nutrients or just water in there. I'm making a refillable one too. So that's what we're working on. So that'd be another video. I might have it done this weekend, but we'll do that. I'll give away 3 of those. And then maybe next week we'll give away like something like the bigger ones or something like that too. All right. I want to win. I want to win. Bottle's great too. Heck yes. Okay, everybody, I'm going to hit grab names in 3, 2, 1 if everybody's ready. Start collecting names. Okay, there's 27. And it's final warning. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, and then I'll go ahead and draw. All right? 3, 2, 1, draw. See everybody's name going by. Erica, winner. Congratulations. And let me pop my email up here. Email me, Erica, at, give me 1 second. I said I'm slow. Here we go. Keep on growing, gmail.com. And make sure you get the 1 and not a G. Some people put keep on growing, and that was taken like years ago. So make sure you get that right. But email me there. Say, America, I won the adapters, and I'll get that mailed off to you. And you know what? Y'all want to do one more real quick, and then we'll go? How about seeds like I just did? Was that Carol one last night? She won 4 bags of microgreen seeds. I think I gave her radish, I think pak choy, red kale, and they came from Greener Harvest Seeds, and then something else. So y'all want to do that too? I'll do like 2 giveaways tonight since Friday night. We're having fun. Let me see if I can get this thing set back up. Let me see if I can reset this tool. Choose a live stream. Let's do that. I'm going to give away seeds too, and I can't hardly talk. Let's do like last night and just put hashtag seeds. And then I'll let you all go. Okay? So put hashtag seeds, and I'll give you all like 3 minutes. Everybody can start to say goodnight, and thank you all for dropping in and spending way more than an hour. I need some pak choy in my life. Yeah, pak choy is awesome. I got some growing still. Pak choy, you can grow it like when it's warm. If you can get it to germinate, it does well. And then when it starts to get cool, I've had some. I lived out on the ranch, and we were on a pond, and the cold air would come across and would actually freeze them. It'd go down to like 30 degrees, hard freeze. If it's down like 20s, it didn't survive. But it'd get down around freezing. We'd have a frost, and they'd freeze over, and then the sun would come up, and they'd thaw out, and they'd still be all right. So it's pretty cool. It was growing almost year-round over here, so I love the pak choy. And then also what we do with those is just, it's neat to just have it growing. Most of the pak choy, if you go in the store, the leaves are all wilted, right? And some of the white's like crunchy, and you can get in, you end up peeling a bunch of it off and throwing it away to get to like the crunchy bits in the middle. It's always like out there, and you can walk out and just grab a handful, just pick some leaves off the outside and chop it up, rinse it off a little bit, chop it up, and just drop it in your hot soup. And I don't even cook it or anything, and it just starts to wilt. So wilt like spinach, and then the white stems stay crunchy, and you can't get that like in the store. I had a Shiro variety, and they don't sell it in America anymore. Some people in Canada offered to send me some, but I don't want anyone to get into trouble. And what do you call it? I'm here having a major. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Let me get this. You're missing out. Hashtag seeds. I'm start collecting names and see if everybody's in here. 11. So only 11 people want it. That gives you all. Oh nope, 26. All right. Fair warning. In 3, 2, 1. Here we go again. Innate being, an innate being. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool name, innate being. Cool. All right. So you do the same thing. Keep on growing. Tell me who you are, and I'll go ahead and get those shipped off to you. And everybody else, If you have any more questions, I'll be back. I might go live this weekend. We're gonna see. I want to really get stuff together, and like we had little bits of video. I had more video and more slides to show you. I just have to get more organized. So I might be doing that this weekend. But if you guys got questions, if you got topics that you want to cover, there's some people ask some things back in the beginning. I'll go back and check that out, and I'll make sure that I'll cover that in other videos. And we'll just come on here. I think this is a lot more fun. I get to help a whole lot more people. But like I said, being a creator, we have to think about a video, how to make it, how to do a thumbnail, get the hook, get you guys watching the whole thing. And here I can just come on here. If you guys need help, you just come and you ask your questions. You know, on a video, I got to make it kind of like entertaining, and you know, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into it. And I don't mind doing that, and you know, you grow a channel and stuff like that. But I feel like I help more people by just coming on here and just making myself available. So we're going to do this. And anybody that's bought the online course or is a channel member on YouTube, I'm going to open up subscriptions on Facebook when I get some time in that. But if you're a channel member, I'm going to have more videos coming out, and it's going to be updated because I have all the basic stuff there for everyone. And it's going to cover the towers. It's going to cover the new microgreen grows. It's going to cover some of the hydroponic stuff in the living wall. So I've got all that stuff coming for y'all. And we're going to have a private live stream. It's kind of like this too, but it'll be just a few of us. There'll be less, you know, less people. Like all these people come in here, there'll probably only be like 2 or 3 people. So we'll really be hands-on. So if anybody needs help that's a member, just ask me and we'll get those private live streams set up, and then we'll be able to help you a little bit more in depth than that. So everybody else, I appreciate y'all. They help support the channel and make it possible for me to do all of this for y'all. And just you guys watching makes it possible. And the big thing is that you guys take it and share. I see all of you out there, and like Juliana, I've seen you sharing with people and that, and other people I've seen you building things and giving them away. I've seen you guys sharing your food. Sam, that was on last night, says she gives it away. Tracy, who's in here, she makes stuff and gives it away. Tracy has got an awesome, it's Mill Creek, I think. If you want to stick your name in there or whatever, but you can look on Instagram, and I went back and had that on my feed. But they're growing mushrooms, and you guys will probably hear me talking about mushrooms a whole lot because my wife's been wanting me to get into that. So we're gonna go grow some, but they've got like huge bunches of mushrooms. All right, cool. You guys, I love y'all. If you see me over the weekend, that's cool. If not, no big deal. Like I said, I'm going to be coming on a lot and very often this whole next month, and try to help as many people as we can when it's warm. Not a lot of people thinking about growing right now, so this is when we can get the information, help each other, get our supplies together, and probably do the most help instead of waiting till like fall when everybody's ready to get out there and do it, and then everybody panics, right? So lots of fun. Thank y'all. Much love. Live to inspire. Keep on growing. Be the change. Good night, everyone.